This is the Rebel Call channel. Welcome to today's show. I have to cover this article that was published today in the Daily Mail. And it's called Inside Secret Billionaire Retreats That Are So Exclusive. Even the CEO of Goldman Sachs is a mere third-tier guest. And if you have to ask, you're not invited. And I'm covering this article because this article shows us behind the scenes, in a sense, of all these retreats. But what they show it for is because they want you to look at this and be like, wow, look at all these famous people. Look at these famous people meeting up with the heads of Google at these fancy resorts. But they don't want you to look at this and say, why are these people meeting? What do they have in common? What does the CEO of Google, of Spotify, what do these people have in common with Katy Perry, with I don't know, Bill Gates, and then you tie in Richard Branson, and you tie in Paris Hilton and Jared Leto. It's a very weird variety of people. Well, that's because these aren't the movers and the shakers. These are the controllers. And the celebrities are the influencers. And then, of course, the people in power of these corporations are teaching them and telling them what ideologies they're supposed to promote, how they're supposed to speak on social media, because this is how government operatives work. And then everybody else is supposed to follow suit, of course. So when people see this article, they look no further than thinking, wow, look, they're at a hidden retreat in the Colorado Rockies. They don't think for 1 second what's really occurring there, not to mention what's really happening when the lights go off and the cameras are forced to be put in a little basket as they enter a room with no windows. And of course, we know what occurs in those rooms in regards to rituals, right? But let's not talk about rituals. Let's talk about these people, because this should be a really easy way for people to wake up, right? So let's start with the first picture they show. I'm going to go through the pictures in the article. I don't even need to read you what the article talks about in regards to all these people just meeting there and how cool it is and how, ooh, even Obama's there. I'm going to show you the pictures and the stuff that they show so you could start using your brain and sharing this with other people so that they can realize that there is, in fact, a conspiracy going on. And if anyone out there thinks when they hear the word conspiracy, they automatically just go, oh, yeah, tinfoil hat. Well, you've been programmed to think that. But the term conspiracy, by definition, means a secret plan by a group to do something unlawful or harmful, the action of plotting or conspiring. So automatically a light bulb should go off just on that definition alone when you see a lot of these people at these meetings together that you're not invited to. They're having these meetings because they're saying, hey, we're all rich, so since you're rich and I'm rich, we have a lot in common. Let's hang out together. No. They're rich because they're guilty of a conspiracy, a global conspiracy. And what they're doing together is conspiring and plotting against the civilians of the world, right? It's not just the civilians in America, the citizens in America. It's the civilians and the citizens of the world. It's a global conspiracy. They don't want you to even know what that word means. They want you to think no further than it means tinfoil hat, crazy people yelling and screaming, Alex Jones. That's all they want you to think. But the notion of a conspiracy makes sense, right? People who are plotting and conspiring to commit unlawful acts. You're seeing it going on around you right now. So the first picture they show, let's start with that, is a discussion board from inside the retreat that one of these people posted on their social media accounts. And on that board, you'll be interested to find words like this: inclusivity, right? Inclusiveness, inclusive, equity, inclusiveness. These are terms you hear a lot, right? Do you think that they're meeting because they're talking about people like, of a certain skin color, that all these rich people are getting together when they could obviously use their money to help poor people in third world countries? Instead, what they do is they go to third world countries and they buy the children there. You don't get suspicious of that though, right? They have the money to do all these things that they want you to do, right? They ask you to donate. They ask you to do this stuff. And of course, this has to do with killing the middle class. And when they talk about being inclusive, they're talking about all of us, again, being equal slaves. That's what they're talking about. We're all going to be equal slaves. We're all going to have the same amount of no money in our bank accounts. We're all going to have the same amount of allotted allowance. We're going to have the same amount of allotted time that we could leave our homes and go visit our relatives or go on vacation. Everything is going to be equal. It's equal slavery. So, of course, that's one of the talking points on the board, as well as digital transformation. It says digital transformation starts offline. And again, that's a word we hear a lot with these people, transformation, because they're trying to transform you. And it's actually underway right now. There's a lot of people who are transforming their genetic codes or have already transformed their genetic codes as we speak. So they're talking about the digital transformation. And then on there, It even says stuff like, can people marry robots? How to become a unicorn, right? Well, that's happening right now. If you don't understand the unicorn agenda and the Baphomet agenda, well, you better start paying attention why you always see unicorns around, just like you hear people constantly talking about goats, okay? They didn't all of a sudden wake up and like My Little Pony. They didn't all of a sudden wake up, or whatever shows are about unicorns these days. They didn't just suddenly wake up and love goats out of nowhere. This goes back to goat worship. And of course, goat worship is known and notorious in satanic worship, right? So the other things we see on the board is Gen Z specifically, because that's who they're targeting. They're using Gen Z as literally as lab rats. They've got them under such thick mind control that it's nearly impossible to break them free from this. So those are the talking points that apparently, Charlize Theron, let's start for example, right? Charlize Theron's at one of these events, right? There's talking about a bunch of these different events that occur and all the people who show up at these events. Charlize Theron is one that shows up, right? Of course, Charlize, just like every other celebrity, has a child who's trans, right? Nobody knows too many in their communities, but what they're doing is they're having the celebrities do this so that their influence could rub off onto the people out there who watch them and listen to them, and they normalize it. This is how mind control works, right? And I covered Charlize in the past who said she would F anybody up who, comes after drag queens, right? Because again, this is an agenda. It's not a bunch of nice people who have the best interest in mind. They're grooming society, right? And of course, Charlize is at these events, and we've seen Charlize do the all-seeing eye symbolism before, Snow White and the Huntsman, just trying to be subtle, doing the shadow with the hat over the eye, which is a way some of these demons try to get creative with their all-seeing eye symbolism, so it's not so obvious. Of course, at the events, we see Barry Soetoro. I'm sure Big Mike isn't far behind, probably lurking over the entire community of people there, the 7-foot Big Mike. And, they show us some of these wonderful castles that they're at. Nobody's suspicious. They're like, oh, they have money and they just rent these castles out. I wonder what they do there. Everyone thinks that they just play Yahtzee all night long. No, they're plotting and conspiring. And then people like Jared Leto show up. I got to be careful what I say for those of you that are new. Jared Leto has gotten me removed from this platform before because Jared Leto has a little bit of leverage because, of course, Jared Leto's a Satanist, right? Now, you think Jared Leto's famous because he's a good actor? Has anyone seen his portrayal of the Joker or any other movies he's been in? He's one of the worst actors on the planet. But, of course, don't let Jared hear you say that. He gets very upset about it. And that's how, I got bullying strikes. So I got to be careful. But no one's really watching anymore, so I guess I'll just take my chances and talk about it. Here's Jared Leto, of course. He's at one of these events, and there's Jared Leto, magazine cover, AOK sign, 666, right? Guess Jared's just a MAGA fan, right? Oh, wait, these are all the anti-MAGA, of course, and that's part of the whole conspiracy because MAGA's controlled as well. That's why they use the 666 symbol out in the open and get away with it because no one pays attention. And here's Jared playing peekaboo with his hand right over his eyes and even posing in a picture with Terry Richardson. For those of you that don't know, you should be able to look at Terry Richardson and know what Terry Richardson is into. It's very easy to see. Terry Richardson is a famous photographer. You might say, oh, he's a famous photographer? Is he taking famous photos of, sunsets over the ocean? Well, you don't know what he's famous for. He's just a famous photographer. He's a photographer of the stars because, of course, he's one of the people hired to take photographs of the rituals that actually occur at these events. They just don't want you to know that. Terry's taken many pictures of some of the stuff at Bohemian Grove. Of course, I'm not talking about even the pictures out in the open at Bohemian Grove. I'm talking specifically about what happens when they lock the doors and they take off their clothes, okay? Terry Richardson is a famous photographer for that. And that's the only reason that he's famous, and that's the only reason that they love him so much. So you see him with Terry, 666 sign, even doing the Venus sign with the fingers. And of course, holding the 666 up over his eye, which shouldn't surprise anybody, because playing peekaboo, right? No big deal. So then the article goes on and talks about, Paris Hilton, right? Paris Hilton's at a Napa Valley secret billionaire meeting, right? And everyone's just like, they must be big fans of Paris Hilton. No one knows why anyone's a fan of Paris Hilton. Of course, Paris Hilton's only famous because she's a Hilton. She's one of the most infamous bloodlines of the Illuminati, right? We've seen Paris Hilton do the shh sign before. I actually even have a video on the website of Paris Hilton and the bloodlines connected to Paris Hilton, including the Bushes and many of these other famous people, because they're all related to each other. Right, so that's why Paris is famous. That's why she's there, but they just call her Harris, and nobody thinks any further. And she's doing the shh over her mouth because, again, the joke's on you. The secret isn't that they're holding their farts or that she just broke wind or whatever. The secret is that they're in the secret brotherhood and you're not. And they let each other know this, and everybody out there knows who's in it at this point. If you're not paying attention, they're all in on it, right? As we continue on, we see Richard Branson here, who Just like Terry Richardson, another guy you could look at, and you could just feel the wickedness and the evil when you look at the picture of him. A ghoul, famous for Virgin Atlantic, etc. And again, everything's A-okay, according to Richard, right? Here he is. I guess him and Jared have this secret code that they do with each other, right? Or every other celebrity, right? Here he's holding up the 666 again, right? Here he is smiling. Oh, you got more. Peekaboo. There it is. More 666 sign again. You guys, he's just letting everyone know everything's going to be A-okay. Every time someone turns a camera to him, he just happens to hold that sign up and smile from ear to ear. Yeah, they call it a crap-eating smile. Well, they call it a different smile where I'm from, but we'll call it a crap-eating smile, right? And again, just over and over and over, holding up the 666 sign, right? Then they even show us Ed Norton. Here's Ed Norton at Media Slopes in 2020. What? You might go, Ed Norton? What in the world, Ed Norton? What is he even in? Primal Fear? I don't even know what Ed Norton's in, right? Ed Norton's another one, because they're all in on it. Ed Norton's famous actor. He's on the cover of a New York Times article doing blatant all-seeing eye symbolism, right? People out there don't even notice it, doing the shh as well. I guess him and Paris Hilton are hiding gas. They both broke wind. They don't want the photographer to know. So they're saying, don't tell anybody, and the guy just took a picture. Nobody thinks any further, right? These staged photographs. And of course, he's doing the triangle of power with his hands. It's very famous. Even Trump does this one out in the open, and nobody says anything about it because they're all in on it. The article continues, shows us Usher, with just some other billionaires, Jesse Williams and Usher pose. Of course, Usher just covered Usher billions of times with the 666. Of course, Usher's connections to Diddy and his connection to other youngsters in Hollywood, right? He just did the Super Bowl, even though he's been under a rock for about 20 years. They just rolled him out for the Super Bowl, of course, because he obviously paid his debts or his due. Somebody close to him went bye-bye, and there goes Usher again, right? They show us Trevor Noah. In this, they're like, oh, look, Trevor Noah was there, former host of The Daily Show. Trevor Noah, perfect example to always use. If you want to explain to people how they put these people in these positions, they're CIA operatives, okay? And they're put in these positions, and if they don't succeed, they axe them. Okay, they all have the same ideologies, but they watch and see. And Trevor Noah couldn't be less funny. Nobody out there on earth, unless you're just completely just have no personality whatsoever. You have personality like a dead moth. Okay, nobody found or finds Trevor Noah funny. Trevor Noah was rolled out. They realized the experiment didn't work, and they put him into a new job. All right, and we'll have Trevor do this and do that. We can't have him pushing this stuff on the news because it's not working. Okay, our communist propaganda isn't working with Trevor, so we'll put another agent in, and that's what they do. They scrub him away, they put another one in, right? We see it in the mainstream all the time. Don Lemon, right? They roll these guys out on communist news network, then they put in another one because they see the pushback. They see, hey, you know what? It's not working. They're embarrassing us. We got to make sure they push the New World Order cause. We've seen him holding up the 666 sign before. Now let's move on to this one, because this was funny. Here's a group photo. Can you see some of the Satanists in here, huh? Well, let's start right in the middle. You got the guy from Metallica. I've broken Metallica down many times, of course. He's very proud of the fact that he was helpful in freeing some of the West Memphis Three, who had the blood contract with Aleister Crowley, freeing them out of a prison cell. Metallica was really one of the themes of their defense case, that they just had Metallica shirts, so, they didn't kill anybody, even though all the evidence said they did, even though people out there still believe the HBO documentary, which was complete propaganda. So, anyway, we look at the picture. Look right there. It's Bono. Bono, who's getting awards from our government, at the Kennedy Awards, etc. Here's Bono. Peekaboo Bono. There's Bono doing a little all-seeing eye symbolism. Nothing to be suspicious of, right? I mean, when Bono gets handed something like this, he just holds it up over his eye. There, he's doing it. He's got a little heart for bail right over his eye. Right? He won his Grammy. The first thing he thought of doing, holding that Grammy award right over his eye. He wasn't like, I can't believe I won a Grammy. No, because it's not really awards. They're awards for the cult, but they're not really awards. He was like, hey, let me hold it up over my eye. He already knew he was going to win because he probably made a sacrifice behind the scenes so that he could win. Right here he is. He's getting some type of an award. He sings songs like Bloody Sunday or whatever the heck he sings. Right? One, some of the Illuminati terms. And he just decides when he gets the award, he wants to take a photograph, look right in the lens, and then hold something over one of his eyes, because that's not suspicious. And that's not suspicious enough. Here he is with Sting, right, doing the 666 over his eyes. I guess he knows Richard Branson, and he knows it's a secret club that we're not in. It's the Bono, Richard Branson, Jared Leto, and every other celebrity pretty much, and Donald Trump. They all hold that symbol up. Again, it's very easy to see. It's the 666 sign, showing their allegiance to Lucifer. And again, speaking of allegiance to Lucifer, he's dressed up on stage with his devil horns many times, right? And if he didn't have his costume, if he forgot his wardrobe, dressed as the devil, well, he made sure he used his fingers and put them up over his head. Some people out there would realize it. And then, Bono's shh. Bono popped into the video. He's telling me I need to be quiet. I'm revealing too much about Bono. Remember, Bono's all about coexist. He's a great guy. Of course, he deceives many Christians out there. He plays the Catholic role, right? He's a Jesuit. But, shh. All right, Bono, sorry. Him and Paris Hilton have a secret they don't want to tell us, and Ed Norton. So we'll continue on. Who else is in this photo? Hey, look all the way to the right. It's Billy Gates. I don't need to show you anything about Billy Gates. If you aren't aware of Billy Gates at this point, well, I don't know what to tell you. But, of course, what does Bill Gates have in common with Bono, the singer of Metallica, and the guy I'm about to talk about, Matthew McConaughey? Nobody knows, right? So he created Microsoft. So Matthew McConaughey wanted to hang out with him, and so did Woody Allen, right? You need to start thinking about why celebrities and why these people rub shoulders, because it's part of a psychological operation by the CIA. Okay? The corporations and the brands, they use the celebrities and their influence and power over the masses to manipulate you into New World Order agendas. People are like, oh, what's the big deal? Well, when you're a slave in a couple of years, you'll say it was a big deal, right? So Matthew, again, he must be in the secret club with Richard Branson because he holds that 666 sign up all the time. He looks right into the camera lens. He strategically does it over and over and over again. And that, of course, is just because Matthew what? Does anyone know? Not sure. And Matthew, of course, was in True Detective. If you haven't seen the season of True Detective that Matthew McConaughey was in, well, I definitely recommend you do because it pretty much revealed the majority of things that I've talked about, which are true. And they needed to make an episode about it because, well, the episode makes people out there think this is all fictional. That's all, right? But they tell you, right, even that symbol on the back of the guy right there, and I have a breakdown on that entire show on the website as well. So who else is in this photo? I mean, that's enough, right? Oh, wait, is that Woody Allen? Nah, Woody Allen can't be in on it, right? Oh, there's Woody Allen. Peekaboo, Woody. Yeah, Woody. I guess he talked to Charlize Theron about, and that's why they're all at these secret meetings together. They all love top hats, too, like the Freemasons. And he said, hey, you have an idea if I could pose on a magazine cover? She's like, why don't you tilt your hat over your eye? And he's like, okay, great. And that's why they're at the same meeting together, because they're friends. And that's, if you think anything more, it's a conspiracy. Just like here with Woody Allen with his hand in his coat. This isn't some type of hidden hand symbol, is it? Oh, yes, it is. It is. And what is the origins of the hidden hand where we could see, fascist leaders, tyrannical leader, all these people in portraits holding their hand in their coat. You think they're itching them? Think he has a mosquito bite in there? No, it's the hidden hand of Freemasonry, of course, because this is another sign of the Master Mason, another sign of the occult, Let's just continue on. Who else do we have before, I don't want to talk all day here. I could, though. Who else do we got? Katy Perry. Now, Katy Perry couldn't be a Satanist, right? Katy Perry, a Satanist among a lot of things. Oh, yes, she is, right? Remember we saw Katy Perry, this wasn't obvious at all, holding her hands over her eyes with an eyeball in her mouth, she just, I guess, failed optometrist. She removed her eyes, put it in her mouth. She was so upset at herself because she failed, she failed optometry school, I guess, right? And that's why she has it on her chest, that all-seeing eye on the back of the dollar bill that they all are obsessed with. Their fetish is eyeballs. That's it. They all just love eyes. They see people's eyes like, I love eyes, right? And they just put up, pictures of themselves doing it. Nobody could explain it, right? And of course, we all know, right? There's Horus's eye right there. All-seeing eye of Lucifer, right? Holding up devil horns, of course. And no surprise, she's on a boat, the Rising Sun, right? Kind of like the Phoenix Rising. That's the name of the boat. It even says it right there in the picture. The Rising Sun, right? The Phoenix rising from the ashes. And there's Orlando Bloom. Right, that's Orlando Bloom, I believe is the current husband or wife. I don't know what they call, demon, ghoul that lives with Katy Perry. And of course, we've seen him doing the all-seeing eye symbolism before. And of course, look, if you're going to be with Katy Perry, just like if you're going to be a Rothschild or Rockefeller, you got to be one of them, right? Kind of like Russell Brand. Russell Brand, the new face of the truth movement. When they replaced people like little old me, and they wiped us out and made it so that nobody could find us anymore. And they put these people in that give you a little taste of truth, but they're not really any truth in there. Because the stuff they talk about, they bring up the World Economic Forum, they bring up some of the things going on that are crazy censorship. They don't break down anything. They don't take you out of the left-right divide because they're Satanists themselves. Russell Brand has always been one, right? We've seen Russell Brand holding up the 666 sign many, many times, devil horns. What else have we seen Russell Brand do? Well, he's got 33. He's got his show 33. That's not obvious enough for people out there. He's got it tattooed on his wrist. Right? But he tells you if you think 33 has anything to do with the occult and Freemasonry, you're crazy. He just turned 33 one year, I think. Is this a story? I don't know. He has some story about it. He's like, 33 is a number, you know, because maybe a lot of people believe that Jesus was 33 when he was murdered, you know, that these people are proud of it and they love the number 33. But he just has it there because he went apple picking one day and he happened to win the contest of who could pick the most apples, and it was 33. So he tattooed it right on his arm. And then he also is kissing Yuval Harari, you know, the guy who says that humans need to be killed off and there's no purpose of them. Yet this is the face of the New Truth movement, which is enough to make anybody want to jump off a bridge. I can't say that, but I mean, it's scary, right? It's scary. This is the face of the truth movement now, Russell Brand, right? So these are all the people that get together at these secret meetings. Again, the article is about inside secret billionaire retreats. And they just want you to think that they're there and it's cool. But you're not supposed to know what they're really doing. And any of the stuff they mentioned, like, would you marry a robot? Can you marry a robot? It's silly. Like, oh, these guys are weird. That's weird stuff. And 10 years from now, nobody will think it's weird about marrying a robot. And they'll never remember the article. They'll never remember hearing what they first thought when they heard about humans marrying robots. They'll be like, what's the big deal? Because that's called desensitized. That's part of mind control. And that's what this entire operation is. And that's why they're all together. Because these are the people who are manipulating us into slavery. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you enjoyed this video. I had to do a video on it. Hopefully it's something you could share with people, help them wake up, but couldn't be more obvious, right? Truth right in front of our faces. I thank you again. Hope you're all well. God bless you and your families, as always.